How's it going, guys? What of course you'll be seeing today is me review and break down the exotic fusion rifle in Destiny called Pocket Infinity. You can get it by completing an exotic bounty called Shattered Memory Fragment, which is given to you by the bounty dealer at random. I recently got the chance to unlock it, so I'm going to basically show you a breakdown of how to unlock it and what I think about the weapon now that I've maxed it out. So here, let's get started. Here's how you unlock it. What I'll do is tell you all the important steps, and I'll give you a video in the back showing you how to do it. There are a few steps in between, like talk to the speaker, talk to the gun master, but you already know the drill. That's not something you need to hear. So here we go. First thing you have to do is obtain a damaged ghost from Venus's Shattered Coast, which is a nice rhyme. So again, you go to the coast, and the video will show you in the back of exactly where to go to pick it up. It's not that difficult once you know where to go to pick it up. The second part is you have to kill a Vex Gatelord in a historic story mission to obtain a restored ghost. So again, easy. You play the mission on Venus called Eye of a Gatelord, beat the guy. Second part of the bounty's unlocked. The next part's the hard one, and unfortunately you don't really have a lot of control over it. You have to dismantle 10 rare or higher fusion rifles. So my advice to you now is, even if you don't have this bounty or you don't plan on getting this bounty anytime soon, when you collect those rare engrams and you go to the cryptarch to get them basically checked, reviewed, so to speak, if you happen to get a rare fusion rifle, a blue one pop up, save it, throw it in the vault. Don't scrap it before you have this bounty. Trying to get 10 of these is brutal, especially through doing it through engrams. So trust me, if you have a chance to, stock up while you can, and if you have 10, this bounty will be a breeze. The second option, of course, is to buy them off the gunsmith when he sells them, but that's a problem because he's only there for a few hours at a time, and apparently, from looking it up online, there's a rough estimate of him being there every 3 days, but that's completely unconfirmed. So it's sort of up to, like, are you going to be available at the time that he's there? So it's luck of the draw sometimes. Plus, the other thing is you're gonna have to make sure you have around 20,000 glimmer even when he's there, because these rifles aren't cheap. So bear that in mind. Which, again, hence my point previously of hanging on to any blue fusion rifles you land. But if you manage to get the 10, dismantle them, that part of the bounty's done. The next part is to actually kill 200 enemies with fusion rifles in the weekly Nightfall strikes. You can use any fusion rifle you want, which is the good news, and depending on the strike, it can be easy or difficult. The best tip I have is to equip a fusion rifle that has the element buffed for that particular week. It's sort of common sense, but trust me, it makes a huge difference. And just repeat areas with a lot of enemies until you reach 200 kills. So the best example here is on the Nexus strike of late October, early November here. Repeat the area where you basically have to kill the 3 servitors to get as many kills as you can with, in this case, it was buffed Void, so I used a Void fusion rifle. And remember your ammo synthesis as well, so that way you can deal out all those damage, kill about 50 guys, run it 3-4 times, and you're done. Depending on how many guys there are. So there you go. So now that you're done, and you're a proud owner, let's break this puppy down. The rough stats I got from DestinyDB.com, and they state that the gun starts with a 260 base damage and increases to a max of 300 once you're done with the upgrades. And to upgrade it, you're going to need Glimmer weapon parts and Ascendant Energy and the other form from some planet such as Relic Iron or Spirit Bloom. The charge rate's 10%, impact rating of 78%, not bad. A range of 25, a stability of only 15, that hurts a bit, and a reload percent of a sky-high 86%. And the magazine size is 3. And this, of course, is post-patch stats and perks. In terms of PvP damage output, this thing's basically going to need at least 2 hits to kill someone. Maybe 1 if you're pretty much neck and neck right next to him. But I've noticed the trend for me is at least 2 hits. And once you're extending maybe beyond 10-15 meters, you're probably going to need all 3 hits around center mass to kill the guy. But again, depends. You'll see how it goes. You'll see if his shield's down, it's not. But basically, as long as you're hitting center mass and you're not outside of approximately medium range, 1 to 2 hits usually should be enough to kill the guy. With regard to the skill tree, all Pocket Infinities on existence have no variation because they're an exotic weapon, and they all deal solar damage. You have 3 clear options in terms of the barrel: smooth ballistics, which adds stability but drops range; soft ballistics, which increases recoil but reduces impact; and the linear compensator, which boosts range and impact but increases recoil. So of course, pick which one you think will be less of a detriment in the particular category you value most and will be utilizing the most. If you value range, pick the one that reduces range the least, is basically what I'm saying. With regard to breaking down the skill tree, the first important perk is called Surplus, which means you'll find additional ammo for this weapon more frequently, and trust me, you're going to need it. It goes through ammo like nothing else. The next 3 perks which you'll have a choice over are Hand Loaded, which is a range buff; Speed Reload, which does exactly what it says; and Perfect Balance, which dramatically reduces recoil. The choice is yours, but I prefer the reduced recoil, and you can absolutely make a case for buffed range, I get it. But this isn't a weapon, especially in PvP, that you want to be using beyond closer range, maybe medium at the max. Most other PvP auto rifles will shred you in medium to longer range, so giving you that false sense of security with a range buff isn't going to help you an awful lot. If you choose to stick to closer range, you may as well buff stability, so that's my choice. Stick to what you're good at and what the weapon's strength is, and just buff stability. The last perk, of course, is called Pocket Infinity, and allows you to fire this weapon in full auto mode and gives you a chance for shots fired to be returned back to the magazine. As the description of the gun says, this perk allows you to output basically a wall of solar energy at your enemy, even if it was reduced to 3 post-patch from 8. And the other 5 perks deal bonus damage or damage buffs. Overall impressions in PvE, this weapon is still a viable option post-nerf, and I've read tons of comments and opinions stating this weapon is useless post-patch. I have to disagree with it. It's just, the difference is it's no longer an endless wall of energy that you can fire at will that makes you almost invincible. It basically, but it still outputs a ton of damage and even becomes deadly for solar buffed weekly or nightfalls. If you prefer hard-hitting, single-shot fusion rifles, this wouldn't be your weapon of choice anyway, so the nerf doesn't kill the weapon, it just makes it even with the rest. It's not the runaway choice anymore. In PvP, as stated before, you'll want to use it in close quarters engagements and want to charge in advance because it does have a slow charge time versus other fusion rifles. You don't want extreme close range encounters either because of shotguns and the slow charge time, but again, you don't want to push that far beyond like close medium either. If you stay in this sort of betweenish range, you'll probably find the most success. I'd still consider this fusion rifle overall to be very good, even post-nerf. The cry of its death has been greatly exaggerated, in my opinion. It might not be the single best fusion rifle of choice out there anymore. The nerf, like I said, brought it back to the pack. But as stated, I think it has utility in both PvP and PvE, and if I didn't already own a Plan C and a Light Beware, I'd still be using it all the time. My biggest issue with this weapon comes when facing mobs, and I'll break it down quick. If enemies are spread out so that I have to retarget after killing another, I find I always run out of ammo right as I start shooting the next enemy, and I have to reload and switch weapons, and it gets me killed. The small magazine size now, combined with the fast fire rate and inconsistent ability to output more than 3 returned rounds, make fighting spread out mobs sort of a crapshoot. Like the invincibility you used to have before of hold in the charge, output 5 to 8 rounds, and kill the whole enemy is done, because now you have to sort of shoot the 3, get behind cover, reload, shoot 3 again, as opposed to just shooting a wall before. And that's where the nerf hit this weapon the hardest. That's the biggest weakness it has. If you're fighting one-on-one encounters, taking your time, using cover, and fighting bunched up enemies, you'll have no problems at all. If not, you're going to have to manage when to use the full auto feature, and you're going to have to use cover as well. Or you'll find trouble in PvP or harder enemies in PvE. But again, like I said, its demise has been greatly exaggerated. It's still an amazing fusion rifle. It's just not completely overpowered anymore. But that's my opinion. Have a good one.